Okay. Hi everyone. I've forgotten the count which live stream I am. I was remembering I remembered the first four, and I would always say, "Hey, this is my fourth live stream." But now I don't know. Maybe this is my sixth or seventh live stream. But it doesn't matter. Today we're going to be covering about AI and travel. How to use AI for travel. Um, and the thing is that I'm a very unique traveler. So if you relate to me, like my style of traveling, you'll love this episode or live stream. So I'm a traveler where I don't pre plan anything. Most of my travel is spontaneous or unexpected, God sent. Talk more about it. And I don't like to go to touristy places. I, in fact, avoid touristy places at all costs. And I like to discover the city on foot, as much walking as possible, because that's how you slowly take in the vibe of the city. And what else? I saw no travel guide. No touristy things, like just being completely unplanned. And I also like to immerse myself, so I don't like to touch and go any place. Like, I know people say, oh, we'll go to Europe and we'll take a train and we'll spend one night here and one night there and one night there. Yeah, but what is it like? What have you? Yeah, you can come back and claim that you've seen five different countries, and oh yeah, I've been to Paris, oh yeah, I've been to Denmark, oh yeah, I've been there. But like, what does that really mean? Like, yeah, you've been there, but you literally just did touch and go. Like, you didn't really immerse yourself in that culture or in that city. So my travel experience is very different, and I've traveled the world quite a bit, from Beijing to Puerto Rico. What else, like Cambodia. There are many places that I haven't been to as well. Like, I don't think I have covered the world as much as my friend, who lives in Sweden now, but she literally has traveled to every country in the world, and she traveled cheap. She couch surfed, which was like a concept before Airbnb, where you can rent a couch. You can rent a couch and live on that couch and like experience the city. And her style is very immersive as well, because she volunteers wherever she goes. She ends up volunteering. So that's how I met her in Singapore, because she arrived in Singapore. She was going to stay there for a month and she wanted to volunteer. And so that's how I met her. She ended up volunteering with my nonprofit in Singapore, and since then we've been great friends. So this is how she travels, and I would say she has extensively traveled. She's been to Madagascar, she's been to like Fiji, and she'll be like, "Oh no, I suddenly accidentally booked my flight to Fiji." As if, yeah, it was very accidental, but no, it was pretty planned. So yeah, so this is like her travel, which is more extensive, and I don't think she's using AI for travel. She's not traveling anymore at the moment. But like, I have not traveled as extensively, but wherever I have been, it's been very immersive. So I've been to Bali multiple times, highly immersive experience. The first time I was there, um, it was in the era of internet cafes, like Bali Cyber Cafe. And I was working for a World Bank consultant, and I was writing a big proposal on disaster management for Indonesia for him. And so I ended up sitting in Bali Cyber Cafe and writing the World Bank proposal for giving a loan to Indonesia for disaster management. So that's very immersive, right? Like, I was literally in a cafe writing about Indonesia. Very like, really good. So anyways, let's dive into the topic about how to use AI for travel. Because if you are like me, who likes to travel in in no real travel way, then you would really enjoy this. So I want to begin from the time when there was no AI, and I've been to this place called Mandawa in Rajasthan. Rajasthan is this beautiful state in India, which had lots of rulers, lots of kings, small kingdoms. So it's a very like state of like royalties, multiple royalties, lots of small kingdoms, that the British, when they invaded India, they got these rulers to fight each other. So it was like literally, um, divide and conquer formula. So they got these rulers to fight with each other and then take over their kingdoms or marry their queens or something like that. So, anyways, so and when the British left India, when India gained independence in 1947, these kingdoms had no power. Like all their wealth was seized by the government because now India was a republic, and so they had no control over their wealth except the properties that they owned. So one of the properties, a palace, was converted into a hotel. It was the very first one to convert into a hotel in Rajasthan. This place is called Mandava. And I've been to that place many times, like many times. It's my second home in India. Whenever I go to India, I go to Mandava. And I've been traveling Mandava without AI, because and I generally don't really yeah, for Mandava I did take a tour guide where there's a village with a lot of history. I mean, I can start sharing some pictures. So maybe, you know what, I'm going to put those pictures in Gemini and show you, because we're going to learn a lot more about Mandava through that. So I'm going to just pull a picture out from my albums. And you know what's beautiful about Mandava is that they have these fresco style paintings. Now, fresco style is like an Italian style of painting, but Mandava palaces or like Havelis have that. So let me share my screen. I'm going to do a quick screen share. Um, I want to just see, you can see my screen. Can you also hear me? Yes, you can hear me too. Okay, good. So let me just open this picture. Now this is a really old, it's called a Haveli. So basically Havelis were like houses of traders, traders back then when there was no railroads, when people commuted on camelbacks. They went from Rajasthan to Turkey, to Europe. These traders left their homes for like months and months, and these are their houses, and they have these beautiful fresco style painting. And the idea was that when they traveled, they saw things, and they came back home, and they got like a painter to like depict the scenes that they've seen when on their travels. So it has like both like gods like Krishna and like Indian mythology scenes, but also it has tons of, like, on these walls are like plastered with tons of scenes from the travel, when the trader went and was out and into like foreign places. All the experiences that he had, he came back and narrated it to a painter who painted it. And the style of painting is fresco. So all this is very like ancient. As you can see, the colors have been totally faded out. And so let's put this in Gemini. And I'm going to obviously give Gemini a location, because if you don't give location, or if you don't try to be specific, then AI can be really vague. And then sometimes you would say, oh, it's hallucinating, it's making up things. It's not that it's making up things, it's just that you haven't prompted the AI well. So let's just say this is Haveli in Mandava. You don't have to give any much context now, because you've already said Mandava. You don't have to say Rajasthan, India. You can just say this is a valley in Mandava. Tell me about the painting style, and why is the entire Haveli covered in painting. So, it's what's happening? Okay. See, I used a fast model, and fast will be good. Okay, I forgot to mention that you can choose models, and fast is like quick answer out, doesn't spend time thinking. But because this is like a well documented fact about Mandava, I bet fast model is really good. You don't need to really, you're not solving any complex problem, you're just retrieving information. So this should be pretty good. Based on the visual evidence from the image and information about Havelis in Mandava, here are the details. Based on your annotations highlighting specific sections on different floors, the Haveli is adorned with traditional Rajasthani. Okay, so this is the Rajasthani fresco or Shekhawati, because the bigger region is called Shekhawati and Mandava is like within like the Shekhawati. So, anyways, the style is the Rajasthani fresco or Shekhawati fresco. The annotations on the ground floor over the arches show paintings that blend local folk art and themes from Mughal miniature painting, including traditional motifs like peacocks. The annotation on the second floor over a doorway highlights more detailed, which is in Mandava, often included a mix of traditional subjects and representation of modern British technology like trains, cars, and even early aircraft. So this is pretty interesting. See, a tour guide wouldn't have broken this down into such details. Like whatever I just told you is the information that I got from the tour guide. Like he would go from Haveli to Haveli and give a little bit of history and the kind of people who lived there and what did the families did, like the wife and the kids did when the husband was out, and where did the wives always sat on the second floor and overheard the conversation of men on the ground floor because they're planning their trip, and the wives would like just overhear it and know like, okay, this is when they're departing, this is when they're coming back, okay, this is what's going to happen when they're off. So like they were never actively made to participate in the conversation, but second floor is where they sat and overheard the whole conversation. And there's always a, like, it's a courtyard, so they're sitting in the open, the men are sitting in the open and discussing. So anyway, all this information has been passed to me by the tour guide, but like this is very detailed, looking visual analysis of the painting. Okay, let's look at this. Haveli owners were usually prosperous merchants from the Marwari community. Covering the structure in vibrant and detailed paintings was a tangible way to showcase the immense wealth and power to anyone who walked by or entered. Before mass media, these frescoes served as visual storytelling tools. See, I told you about this. This is what my tour guide told me. This is like literally visual storytelling. Many paintings depicted scenes from Hindu epics like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, stories from the life of Lord Krishna, and portraits of deities. But what also my tour guide said was that when they went on their travel and they saw things, they came back and told the painter to like recreate that scene that they saw. For the many villagers and travelers who might be illiterate, because yeah, education, like people didn't read and write, like I don't think there was a concept of going to school. These paintings function like a graphic novel recounting important religious and historical events. So this is like super enlightening. Now I'm gonna like maybe put another painting of like a restored, uh, okay, maybe let's just put this. Tell me, let's just put this. I'm going to put like an image of like a city view of Mandava. So, like this is how it looks. I'm on like the Mandava Palace rooftop, and I'm looking down at the city, and I can say this is Mandava again. You know, let's always confirm the location from the palace. Tell me about Mandava as a village, the rulers. Now I want to know about the rulers. And what's up with it today? You can be as informal as possible. And let's go with fast again, because these are all facts. You know, it's not, we're not asking it to like solve any complex problem. Yeah, so we're going to stick to the fast model and it will quickly pop out. It's doing visual analysis, it's looking at the visuals. But okay, Mandava is a fascinating village turned town that essentially functions as a living museum, often called the open air art gallery of Rajasthan. See, I didn't know this. I really didn't know this. Okay. Mandava as a village. Mandava was originally founded in the mid 18th century as a trading outpost on the Asian Silk Route. The hub and spoke design. The village grew around the Mandava castle, the palace, which was the administrative and protective heart of the settlement. The wealthy merchants built their havelis in the surrounding narrow lanes to stay close to the safety of the fort. Now, this fact I know because this was told to me by the tour guide. Like the relationship between the king and the merchant, you know, like how the ruler was, not all rulers were this gracious, but Mandava's ruler was very gracious and said, you guys can leave your families behind and we're going to take care of your family while you're gone for like months and months. and they travel along the Silk Route. So they were gone to Turkey and Europe. And the village was traditionally organized to separate public and private life. Outer courtyards, these were the business offices where men, see, I told you about it, when men met travelers and traders. So this, all my tour guide told me. Inner courtyards, there were private sanctuaries for women and children, often hidden behind the intricate stone screens called jharokas. Yeah, this is jharoka style is very, very popular in Rajasthan architecture. Like you go anywhere, there'll be jharokas, like these windows with like, it's not like an open window, it's not a glass window, it's not like a totally like you can see everything at once window. It's got like these small small holes, because in Rajasthan the parda system, like the women had to cover their head, they weren't allowed to participate in like with men. So they always sat behind jharokas, behind these windows with like small small tiny tiny holes through which they could see without covering their head. They can sit in their own like comfortable zone, like without having to worry about covering their head, and listen to the conversation, what's happening outside, what are they talking about. So it was, or like look at the view outside, like for instance the famous Hawa Mahal palace in Jaipur is built around that. Like there are these, Hawa Mahal is like, it's basically called the Hawa means air palace, or the wind palace. And basically the thing is like, it's got these massive front wall with these small small tiny tiny see-through things, because the royalty, and especially the women, went behind that to see what's happening outside on the road and like just see the city life. So that's the whole concept. The rules of the village, the social hierarchy of architecture in the past, the height and level. Okay, forget this. Parda. See, I talked about parda and privacy. The architecture itself enforced a rule of privacy. Windows on the ground floor are rare. Instead, a light and air comes from the internal courtyards. This ensures that private lives of the residents were shielded from the busy trading streets. Today, there is an unspoken community rule regarding Shekhawati frescoes, because these paintings are the town's lifeblood. There are significant local and government efforts to prevent people from whitewashing or destroying the original murals, even as the buildings age. So, what's up with it today? The Heritage Hotel boom, many of the grandest structures, including the Castle Mandava and several Havelis. And Havelis are where the traders lived, and Castle is obviously where the king lived. Like the Gulab Royal, they mentioned few Havelis, have been converted into luxury heritage hotels. This has kept the buildings from crumbling, though some purists worry about modernization overriding authenticity. Bollywood's backyard. There are tons of Bollywood movies have been shot. I know, like lots, like in the Mandava Castle, and so you might recognize the streets. Mandava is a favorite for filmmakers. Major movies like PK, Bajrangi, Bhaijan, and Mirza was filmed here because the village perfectly captures a timeless Indian aesthetic. While some Havelis are well maintained, many others are in a state of beautiful decay. Many of the original merchant families moved to big cities like Mumbai and Calcutta. So as soon as like the first, from camels, they went to using railroads. And as soon as the rail network was set, which was in Calcutta, which is east of India, they all the trader families, they literally left their Havelis and they moved to Calcutta and subsequently to Mumbai, because Mumbai is also port. So the thing is like, and they don't want to come back because it's like a small village life. But sometimes I wonder, like, wow, these people are owning such beautiful Havelis, like only if they can give it to me to like, maybe I can start living there. Every time I go there, I'm like, maybe they should just give it to me. I'll make it nice and I'll start living in there, because they don't care to come back. They don't want to come back. There's nothing like this. Small village life is boring for them, and these are rich families now because they are like the trader families. They're some of the most established industrialists families who have these Havelis back in Rajasthan. So there is currently a push to get Mandava and the Shekhawati region recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Site. This has led to new rules regarding urban development to ensure that the new concrete buildings don't ruin the historic skyline. So let me tell you, I've been to Mandava many times, Mandava village, and Mandava still has that very ancient feel. Like there isn't any new buildings or like some out of like that don't really blend in with the aesthetics. None of those buildings exist there. So it's a really beautiful place. So that's Mandawa. Now let's start a new chat, because every time you want to explore something different, like a totally different concept, it's good to start a new chat. And now we're going to go to Hamburg, as I said. Like, so, let me just like talk about the fact that I've been to Mandawa with a travel guide, and a lot of things I have learned from the travel guide, but there are so many, like I learned much more today right now with y'all using AI, because I really didn't know what was depicted on those paintings. I didn't know about like the push to make Mandawa as a UNESCO site. I didn't even know that it was called like the Open Art Gallery of Rajasthan. Like I didn't even know. Like and I've been to Mandawa so many times. So I think tour guides are great. They do give you information, but like if you put that same picture into AI, and AI is really good with visual reasoning. You can use a fast model. As I said, you're really not doing any complex problem solving. And you can learn so much more about the place that you got fascinated by. So that's one. Now I'm going to talk about Hamburg. I was recently in Hamburg, and as I said, like most of my trips have been unplanned, or like so unplanned that literally God sent. So the way I landed in Hamburg is a pretty interesting story, because I was not planning to be in Hamburg, Germany. I wasn't at all. It wasn't part of my plan. I was flying to Dubai, and the day I was flying to Dubai, I was in the air. The U.S. Iran war happened. So basically, there were missiles in the air, and our pilot had just entered the Middle East space, and he had to quickly redirect, um, because as he said on the announcement, there's a political situation happening. We need to go to Warsaw. And so we were about to land in Warsaw 30 minutes into landing. And the pilot is like, okay, Warsaw declined us entry. So now we're going to Hamburg. And 2 hours later, I don't know, I think from Warsaw to Hamburg was just maybe about 1.5 hours or so. We were in Hamburg. The whole vacation was paid by Emirates. So I'm really grateful to Emirates for making me explore a totally new place that was definitely not on my cards. So I ended up going to the submarine museum. So there's a Russian submarine. So now let's understand the history behind this Russian submarine. So this is Hamburg. Let's just give context. This is Hamburg. I mean, you don't have to put the picture. You can simply type it out too. But because I have an image, I'm going to use that. And also, like putting a picture, like double reinforces or gets the AI to pay more attention, like to that very topic, and retrieve more relevant information. I'm just going to do that. So this is Hamburg submarine museum. Tell me, like I didn't have a tour guide here actually. So I wish I had one. I could have explored so much more about the interiors of the submarine, but we can do it now. Like I'm going to put some interior images too. So this is Hamburg Submarine Museum. Tell me about it. What tell me about let's just begin with this. Oh, the U-boot museum, Hamburg is a unique, okay, but visit authentic interiors. The museum preserves the original. You can view the forward section of the sub houses. I want to know about whose submarine is that. So it belonged to the Soviet Navy and later the Russian Navy. It's called U-434 for the museum. That name actually comes from the number 434 painted on its hull during its service. So now this is what I wanted to know, and nobody gave me this information there because I was solo exploring the submarine, and nobody was there to give me this kind of information. And I was really curious. It served the Soviet Northern Fleet during the Cold War. After the fall of the Soviet Union, the sub continued to serve the Russian Navy. Purchased in 2002 after it was decommissioned. The Russian government sold the vessel to German company. Okay, so it wasn't through war that they seized it, they actually bought it. So this is interesting detail. Like I didn't know any of this. So this is really fascinating, and I can put like a picture of the interior now, and like understand more of the interior, because the interior was very fascinating to like, let's just put some like some command center. Some, what's happening. Okay, let's just put like a really chaotic picture. I'll show you the picture that I'm putting because it is pretty chaotic like in there. It's really tiny. I don't know how these people, like, this is it, like I hope you can see it like this. I don't know how those men could stand in this submarine, because I had like this from going from one part of the submarine to another. You had to go through this round hatch, and you had to literally bend. I had to literally throw my backpack ahead like a commando. I'm like, I'm like ground movement. I would throw my backpack ahead, then I would climb into this, then I would go into the other side. So I don't know how those guys did it. Like it was really very basic. So this is a picture. Okay, let's see. So this is the inside. This is the interior. Tell me what you see and explain. Oh, what is it saying? Oh, the photo captures the organized chaos of the engine room and bulkheads. It's a perfect example of Soviet naval engineering. Okay, well, perfect example. It's very chaotic. It also said it is like chaotic, where every square inch of space is utilized, okay, for functionality rather than comfort. Okay, see, such interesting details. Okay, the circular opening on the left is watertight hatch. Fun fact, notice how you have to step over a high ledge to get through. That's to ensure a perfect seal and to maintain the structural integrity of the bulkhead. Complex piping. In Soviet subs, different colors often indicated what was flowing through the pipes: fuel, seawater for cooling, high pressure, air for, or hydraulic fluid. Red wheels usually signify critical systems. Okay, modern safety additions. Okay, they've added that. So basically, see, if somebody who's into submarines would ask even more intelligent questions, like how many how many torpedoes did it carry? Let's understand that. Like, but you can go as technical as you want. And I took tons of pictures. So, like, if somebody really wants to understand this, like, can go very technical. The U-434 was a formidable hunter-killer submarine and could carry a total of 24. So ready to fire. Interesting tactical details. These ones just for sinking ships. The tubes could also deploy 24 to 36 naval mines. Oh, if the torpedoes were removed. So basically, you can keep going on this. Like people who love war and like torpedoes and submarines could investigate this like to like no limits. You know, like you could just keep going on. So that's one. And now quickly, let's move to Vancouver, because I'm based in Vancouver, and Vancouver does a really great job of showcasing history about like the place. And my favorite place happens to be Kitts Beach. Is also called Kitsilano, and there's a lot of history. You know, Greenpeace. Not Green. Was it Green? Yeah, Greenpeace, the nonprofit, was found. Oh, let's start a new conversation. Was founded in Vancouver around Kitsilano Beach. So really fascinating history around Greenpeace. So this is like a plaque when you're going down. When you're going to Kitsilano Beach, and it talks about Kitsilano. So tell me, Kitsilano is really cool because it is like, think of it as the Abbot Kinney, if whoever's familiar with LA, Abbot Kinney of Vancouver, or SF, or West Coast of Vancouver, like just that strip, the Fourth Street, and the Kitsilano Beach is like the real hippie West Coasty vibes. And it was lots of like artists and writers and poets lived there. a lot like green, as I said, Greenpeace was founded right there, and there's an interesting mix of people that came together to find to come up with this organization. So basically, it's a really cool place. If you're coming to Vancouver, I would highly recommend to go down to Kitsilano Beach. It might not be on your tourist guide because the tourist guide will mention very touristy places like, or it'll just say go on the 4th Street. But I would say like just wander around Kitsilano Beach, just around the neighborhood, just wander around, and you'll discover just cool things. So tell me about the history of this place based on this plot. So it's about like they call it kids cats. Like the people who lived there were called kids cats. This plaque commemorates a specific era in the history of Kitsilano, often called Kits, a neighborhood in Vancouver, British Columbia. It captures a snapshot of the area during the 1960s when it served as a hub for the counterculture movement and the local literary scene. So a hippie hub, the photo at the top shows a group of young people on 4th Avenue, labeling them as hippies. They call themselves hippies. In the 1960s, Kitsilano was the heart of Vancouver's bohemian culture. Okay, so I should have named this neighborhood in San Francisco, Haight Ashbury. But yeah, that was the basically the epicenter of the hippie culture in SF. The text mentions typewriters clacking at all the second floor windows, suggesting a community dense with writers and poets. The plaque itself features a poem titled Kit's Cats. Um, the plaque mentions that the famous okay beat poet. So basically, like it gives like the whole history of the place. The writing emphasizes how cheap the neighborhood used to be. It mentions buying 17 cents worth of cheddar cheese at Jackson's Meats and owning a $200 car. Low kids, the author refers to lovely cheap low kids, describing a time before the area became highly desirable and expensive. This is okay. Jackson's Meat on 4th still exists. It's still a business. U Street, Kitsilano Beach. So tell me now. I want to know more about. Tell me about the culture. Then you can dig further. Then like how was their day to day? So in the 1960s, Kitsilano was known as Haight Ashbury North. The day-to-day culture was a blend of high-minded intellectualism and a laid-back experimental lifestyle that prioritized community over material wealth. So as I keep calling, like Kitsilano is like a reflection of the lost era because we don't see this anymore. The morning, if you lived on the slopes, your day often started with a bit of physics because many residents drove cheap, unreliable cars. Oh my God, parking downhill. Okay, they would park facing downhill on streets like you to start the car without wearing out the battery. You'd simply release the brake. Okay, that's fun. A hub of intellectual sound. The clacking of typewriters wasn't just poetic license. Kitsilano was the epicenter of the Tish movement, a group of poets who were reinventing Canadian literature. Shopping and head shops. West 4th Avenue was the main commercial drag. Your daily errands might include psychedelic shop, Jackson's Meats, the Nam. Okay, this Nam still exists. So when I first arrived in Vancouver, okay, arrived in the sense I first came to visit Vancouver before I actually moved here from Toronto. And one of my best friends in Toronto is a Vancouverite. And I was like, okay, what are the things that I should go and do? And he suggested go to Nam. Now, this still exists. It's on 4th. It's on 4th Street, but it was the first vegetarian restaurant that opened in Kitsilano then. And to be honest, now when I visited, obviously my friend has fond memories of Nam, but now I mean, it's a neighborhood delight. Definitely, lots of people from the neighborhood go there every day, but it wasn't my kind of vegetarian food. So, opened in 1968, this was and still is the go-to spot for vegetarian food. Now, there are many other different go-to spots for vegetarian food, and I can give you a whole list of it. This was definitely good in those days, and it's still a neighborhood delight. But I went to Nam only once, so that just says that I don't. Like I have other favorites. So afternoon at the beach, the proximity to Kids Beach was central to the culture. It wasn't just for tanning; it was a place to be in and love ins. Okay, so as the blog notes, it was also a place for resourceful locals to harvest sand for their pets under the cover of night. Evenings of poetry and protest. Oh, evenings were spent in basement suites or communal houses. Like, look at this. Like, this is like recreating an entire vibe. I mean, I wish we could actually recreate this kind of lifestyle again. Um, these were legendary. A single small apartment might host 80 people, including visiting icons. The Grateful Dead, the Russian Hall, the venue on the fourth hosted some of Vancouver's first psychedelic rock concerts. Activism, day-to-day life was heavily influenced by the news of the day, the Vietnam War, and environmental concerns. In fact, organizations like Greenpeace were birthed in small offices right in the neighborhood. Would you like me to generate an image of what Fourth West Avenue might have looked like during the 1967? Okay, yeah, let's do that. Yes, please generate an image. Now I'm not guiding the AI anymore. Let's just end it with this. Let's just generate an image and let's just put it on thinking mode now. So Gemini is going to now load Nano Banana 2, which is their photo creation and editing tool. Think of it as like Photoshop. You can edit stuff by just through like typing the changes you want to the image, or you can create brand new images. So this is like defining the key subjects. Let's see, visualizing the street, defining the street's vibe, defining the key subjects. So this is so good because I didn't even think that we could probably create an image, but Gemini prompted me like, would you like me to generate an image of what West Fourth Avenue might have looked like during the 1967 Summer of Love. Oh, let's see this. Wow, actually. Oh my gosh. Oh, see, Nam is here. Jackson's Meat is here. This is so different from the Fourth Street now. It is radically different. Like just the cars and the vibe, like and the clothes that people wore. How about I can say, could you also make a carefree vibe image of U Street? This is where I found the plug leading to Kitsilano Beach. We just paint the scene. I don't know what I'm saying. Let's just keep it to this because I don't know what will come up with Kitsilano Beach. So yeah, they're walking upwards. I wish they were going down with that. See, you need to guide the AI more, but this is exactly like it. I walk U Street every single day. So you can see Stanley Park in the back over there. That's West Coast and Cypress Mountain. This is the beach, and it's really busy in the summer. Oh my God, it's such a fun place. And again, it's not on the tourist map. So we get less of like foreign tourists and a lot of local tourists. So, like from the suburbs of Vancouver, there'll be like lots of locals coming over, and they're like, they'll set up DJ sets, there'll be parties, there'll be like rave parties, like all of that happens on Kitsilano Beach. It is not on the international tourist. I just mentioned it. Now I bet I've done harm to Kitsilano Beach by mentioning that on my live stream, but I hope only 5 people are watching it and the news doesn't really spread. So that's Kids Beach basically, and this is like going upwards to Fourth. But like I generally go from fourth to kids, so I walk downwards. So that's it. Like, so there, yeah, AI is like a radically different way to explore travel, designed for people like who want to like really get an immersive experience. Even if you have like 2 days, but you like, uh, even if you do like touch and go now that I think about it, and take like tons of pictures and come back at home to your place and then put those pictures in AI and explore with it, I think then touch and go also becomes very deep, because then you get like more full experience of the place that you visited. um Also, like, it's great for translations, like in Hamburg, like I use Google Translate to like live translate with people who spoke German. There was my hotel room housekeeper who spoke Russian, so a live translation like, it was so simultaneous. It didn't feel like I didn't know Russian, or it didn't feel like I didn't know German. And then you can also ask, like, when you are at a place, like when I was at the submarine museum, I wanted to know what else is around me, because as I said, I don't like pre-plan. I haven't made like a list of things to do. And then you can just like pull out Grok. Grok is a great travel companion. It's funny, it's hilarious, it's very human. So I use Grok a lot. And so you can just pull out Grok and ask Grok, like, I'm here, what else can I check out? Or what is like walking distance, or like car distance, or Uber distance, like whatever. You can be as specific as you want to get like better suggestions from the AI. But like, this is it. Like, I would say travel has changed since the coming of generative AI, and its ability to see, its ability to hear, and its ability to like text is slow. I wouldn't do text. I wouldn't type. I would literally just either enter images on my phone, or I would like talk. Texting while I'm visiting, while I'm in a place, is like a lot of friction. So this is what I did basically. So yeah, that's it. I hope you got ideas how you could do your next travel with AI. And if you do end up doing something interesting, like, or I would say, like, just put it in the comments. That's it. Thank you.